Today on Substance Stories, we're going to be talking about controlled drinking and how to make sure you're staying healthy in your relationship with alcohol. So today I'm going to talk about controlled drinking, which is when we want to monitor and control our alcohol intake, but we don't feel we need to aim for abstinence. Now, I want to start this episode off by saying that if you have an addiction, controlled drinking is not for you. For some reason, once that door is open to an addiction, it remains open and it's very, very, very hard to stop. But let's say I don't have an addiction. I've identified that my relationship with alcohol is not a healthy one. Maybe I'm chemically soothing, which is when I'm feeling low and I'm using drugs or alcohol to make myself feel better, which is a big warning sign, as we've talked about before. Or maybe I've just noticed that I'm drinking more and more frequently, or I'm feeling hungover more and more. And it's my partner or my family or my work are starting to notice. And I'm thinking, well, even though, I'm only drinking once a week, once every 2 weeks, I don't think this is a healthy relationship. So what do I do? Well, I think the first thing you do is you talk to someone, talk to a counselor, talk to an addiction specialist, talk to your GP about this. And then we need to work out what our line in the sand is. If the professional and you agree that you don't have an addiction, which would mean you just have to stop and aim for complete abstinence, which is a fine thing to do and actually I think leads to a much healthier and happier life. But if you both agree that that's not what you want to do and that's not what you have to do right now, then we need to look at and put a line in the sand and say, well, if I cross this, then I'm going to have to aim for abstinence. I'm going to have to revisit what we've talked about before. And so there are things you can do to help you achieve that. There are, harm minimization strategies. I can mix in water into my night. I can drink low strength alcohol. I can take medications that make me want to drink less. But we should still have that line in the sand to be like, this is when I'm going to revisit this. This is when I'm going to say, no, this has gotten out of hand. I like to think of that line in the sand as a speed limit, right? Because a speed limit on the roads is our maximum speed. But it's a recommendation and we don't have to go the maximum speed. When it rains, I go a lot slower than the speed limit because, your car and you get crash. So many crashes like that. When it's sunny, then I feel more comfortable on the freeway going the speed limit. And I think that works perfectly for our life and mental health. If I'm aiming for controlled drinking and I see that I'm in an incredibly stressful period, I shouldn't be then still saying, well, my line in the sand was this, so I'm going to go right up to the line in the sand. I should be saying, no, well, this is a stressful time. I know that alcohol is not good for my mental health. I need to slow it down. I need to make sure I'm driving carefully like this. There are other times when I identify that actually it's too dangerous to drive at all. So, I don't know, maybe I'm in a bushfire and the roads are closed. That stage, I shouldn't be driving at all. We should be looking at our drinking when we're aiming at controlled drinking in the context of our mental health. Our mental health in this circumstance being the weather on the road and doing that. So just because I've said I can do controlled drinking doesn't mean I should be doing controlled drinking all the time, right? If I'm in a poor period of mental health, I shouldn't be drinking at all. And that's a rule that applies to everyone. We need to be looking at our addictive behaviors, even if we're not addicted to those behaviors. We need to be looking at our substance use and saying, actually, I need to be focusing on my health right now, so I'm not going to be adding to the stress or the mental load of all these stresses I'm under by going out and drinking a lot or using drugs. And if you don't have an addiction, but you are living and aiming for a healthy life, you really need to keep a track of your substance use. And that is the speed limit metaphor, which I think is really, really useful. And that line in the sand moment was, well, if I break the law, the police will pull me up. So if I break the law and I sped too fast, I should go to the police and say, oh, I sped you need to give me a fine. And that is the line in the sand. If you notice that your relationship with alcohol is changing, and even though you've monitored this and you've put in these, this is my line in the sand, you might not be able to trust yourself. So you need to make a deal with your loved one or your health professional, whoever you've made that line in the sand deal with, and say, hey, we said that if I started to drink every second day for a prolonged period of time, every second day in a week, I would go to you and say, this has gotten out of hand. I need to do something about this. And that's something that you hold yourself accountable to. That's the road rules. So I hope this was a helpful chat about how we can stay on top of our drinking and on top of our addictive behaviors, and making sure that our relationship with the substance is staying healthy and under the speed limit. Thank you so much for listening.